Alright, hey everyone, in this video we're going to be taking a look at using the Pioneer CDJ-850 in the native HID mode with Scratch Live. Now, Pioneer's upper range of CDJ players, the CDJ-400, 850, 900, and 2000 are native controllers for Scratch Live. What that means is you don't need the timecode control CDs for playback in Scratch Live. All the information is sent over the USB cable in the back, and you just run that into your computer, and you don't need the timecode or control CDs to control Scratch Live. HID mode offers a lot of advantages over using the control CDs. It doesn't have a lot of the quirks and limitations with the control CDs, as you're controlling the deck directly in Scratch Live, and you're not manipulating the timecode CD, which then has to be interpreted and applied to the track playing in Scratch Live. So you're directly controlling the track in Scratch Live. In addition to that, most of the functions and features on the CDJ player itself work very well. As you may know, if you use CDJs, the looping functions don't really work too well. If you have the CDJ 1000s or 2000s, the cue points don't work if you're using the control CD, because remember, you're not playing the actual music on the CDJ, you're playing the control signal CD. The HID mode basically interfaces directly with the deck in Scratch Live, and all the features on the CDJ work as they should, but you're applying it to the track in Scratch Live. So basically it's acting like a MIDI controller, but a very good one. In addition, the HID mode offers information to display on the screen. So you'll see like your track title and artist and all that good stuff. And especially with the CDJ-2000, you have that nice big color screen that also shows the album artwork and a bunch of other stuff as well. I'm not that rich, so I don't have a CDJ-2000. I only went with the 1-850. Normally I'm a turntable kind of guy. But I picked up a CDJ-850 a while ago. I've been meaning to do this video for a while now, so I'm just finally getting around to it. So we're going to take a look at using the CDJ-850 in the native HID mode in Scratch Live. Now, you're still obviously going to need your SL1, 2, 3, or 4 box, or if you have a Rain mixer. I have a new mixer right here, the Allen Heath Zone DB4. I really like this mixer as well. But you do not need to run the RCA cables out of your CDJ into the inputs of your SL box or Rain mixer. So you don't need to connect the RCA cables. However, you do need to connect the USB out to your computer. Now, unfortunately, if you have a Mac, most of them only have 2 USB ports, unless you have the old 17-inch ones that had another USB port on the side, but mine only has 2. So obviously, if you're running 2 CDJs and you only have 2 USB ports, remember, you always have to plug your SL box or your Rain mixer directly into a port on your computer. So that means you're going to need a powered USB hub. Don't use a non-powered one. You definitely want to have a powered one. But since I'm only using one CDJ, we can just plug it into my other port right here. And excuse me for one moment. Let's plug that bad boy in. Okay, so plug your CDJ in the USB. And we're going to start up Scratch Live now. Now, when you're using the HID mode, you need to put the deck in internal mode. You don't want to keep it in absolute or relative mode, so it's already in internal mode. Now, on the CDJ itself, all you have to do is hit the PC button up here at the top. It'll say connected then, and then you're going to want to put select deck. Use the knob right here to select which deck you want it to control. Now, I'm using the SL4, so I have up to the 4 decks to control, but most of you are probably just going to see 1 or 2. But I have 3 and 4 since I'm using the SL4, but I want to use deck 1. So I'm going to select deck 1 and just click the knob button down. This is the knob, and it also has a push button in it as well. So let's just basically run down most of the features of the HID mode. Everything pretty much that's on the CDJ labeled is what it does in Scratch Live. So let's just start with the basics, scrolling through tracks and crates. You're going to use this knob right here, and as you can see, it's scrolling through the track listing in Scratch Live. If you want to jump into the crate area, hit the back button, and that will scroll through the crate listing. And to get back into, once you find a crate, click the button down again, and that will jump into that crate, and you can scroll in that crate with that track. Now, to load a track, just highlight the one that you want and press the button down, like that. Now, as you can see right here, we have the information right on the screen on the CDJ. Displays the song's name, the album, and the artist. Alright, so let's think other things over here. If you want to eject the track right here, just hit the eject disc button, and that will unload the track in Scratch Live. But we don't want to do that because we want to play a track. Vinyl speed brake adjust. This will adjust the startup and shut down speed if you pause the track like that. Okay, vinyl mode, that just directly affects the CDJ. Vinyl mode, obviously most people are going to want to use. CDJ mode just pitch bends, no vinyl mode. Okay, tempo range, setting that will set the tempo range of the deck in Scratch Live. So you can see you can toggle through 6%, 10%, 16%, or 100%. I usually keep it on 6% though. Master tempo, aka key lock, that will engage the key lock on the deck in Scratch Live. I don't use key lock, I don't like the way it sounds, but that is how you engage that. So pitch slider right here, up and down. As you can see, it follows the pitch slider in Scratch Live. Now the resolution, excuse me, of the deck is pretty good. If you're using normal audio CDs and you're used to CDJ-1000s, the resolution is 0.02. You get pretty much just about that in Scratch Live. It's not in exact steps. It kind of jumps around between sometimes 0.01, sometimes 0.02, and sometimes 0.03. So it's not an exact perfect steps, but it's pretty damn close. So that shouldn't be an issue for most people. All right, play and cue. Just work like they should. Hit play. That will start playing the track in Scratch Live. Pause. Now cue. Let me go back. Now this is a lot of complaint people have when you're using the timecode CDs with CDJs. Is the cue always sounds off when you go to set a cue and you re-trigger the cue button. It kind of skips ahead, maybe like a half beat or so. It just always sounds off, and that's a big complaint a lot of people have when you're using the control CDs with CDJs. Is that the cue always sounds off. Well, you don't have that problem with the HID mode because you're setting the cue directly on the deck in Scratch Live right there. The little white cue point. That's the temporary cue point actually. But you don't get that little delay that a lot of people complain about with the cue when using the HID mode. Search forward and backwards, that's just fast forward and rewind. Okay, track search, that is how you just load the next track or the previous track in your crate. So just pressing the next one basically just loads the next song in your crate list, or you can go back as well. Okay, reverse, that plays the deck in reverse. Let me start it up. So hitting the reverse button, that'll play it in reverse. Okay, let's move over here to the looping. This is going to be for your manual looping, in, out, and re-loop. So if you want to do a manual loop, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that'll make a nice manual loop. This is how you exit out of the loop. In addition to the manual looping, I'll turn it down just a little bit. The CDJ-850 doesn't have hot cues. It has auto looping instead, and also the CDJ-900 has looping also. The CDJ-2000 has cue points instead of the loop buttons. Now I much prefer the auto loops instead of the cue points, since I really don't use cue points, at least not for like drumming and stuff like that, or triggering cue points. I much prefer the auto loops. So the CDJ-850 and 900, I like the auto loop buttons better than the hot cues on the CDJ-2000. But, so these buttons right here, when they're lit up, that'll correspond to the beat auto loop. So pressing 1 will make a 1 beat loop. Okay. 2 will do a 2 beat loop. 4 will do a 4 beat loop. And 8 will do an 8 beat one. Okay. Now if you hit the beat select button, that'll basically go down to the outer edge. So you have 1/16, which will just sound like a buzzy noise basically. 1/8. Again, just basically a buzzy noise. 1/4. And 1/2. Okay, and also if you're in a loop, say you make a manual one and you don't make it good on time, kind of make it sound off, so let me do it like this. See how it kind of sounds off. You can adjust the in and out points right here, either one, so let's adjust the out point, and just move the outer ring, and you'll see that'll move the out point in and out, or the out point rather. And you can make a nice little build up like that. Let's exit out of that. Alright, cue loop recall. This is basically how you toggle through your stored loops if you have any. I really don't have any stored loops on this track. That is how you toggle through it. That's how you can delete it if you have one set, and that will save it to the cue point slot. Alright, and that's pretty much it. So again, you also get the information on the screen. Again, you get the song, album, and artist. You can toggle between time lapsed, time remain, with this button right here, over there, time mode. Pitch percentage displays on the deck, and that corresponds to the actual pitch in Scratch Live. So you see 2.1 there on the screen. You also see, if you can get it on there, 2.11 on the deck in Scratch Live, as well as the BPM as well. So 129, and you'll see 129 on the deck as well. So the BPM information actually works. Again, this won't work with the timecode CD because, remember, there's no music on the control CD. It's just a sine wave tone. So that has no BPM. So if you're using the control CDs, the BPM normally doesn't display it. And overall, that's pretty much it. So that is using the CDJ-850 as a native controller in Scratch Live. Again, if you're using the CDJ-900 or 2000 as well, they're also native HID controllers, and pretty much works the same way. And so yeah, that's it. So this is my little video on using the CDJ-850 as a native controller in Scratch Live. I definitely recommend it if you have an 850, 900, or 2000, or even the older CDJ-400s. Those are also HID controllers for Scratch Live as well. In my opinion, it works much better than the control CDs. You don't have all those limitations and stuff like that. And it's just a good solid controller overall.